What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Sixers Postgame Live. Sixers get the L in this one, 112-107, talking top takeaways, reactions, player of the game more. Joining us, he is Sean_Bernard1 on X. What's good, Sean?
Yeah, a little more frustrated by that game than I expected to be. That it's hard to be too mad when you have Campaign as your second leading scorer or third leading scorer. Tobias did end up getting up there, but a guy shouldering major minutes. But that was a game for the taking, and the Sixers were unable to grab it. So frustrating there. This is one they could have used for the standings, and of course, right back at it tomorrow night. So a little frustrated from the way that game went, but excited to break it down.
Absolutely, yeah. Multiple double-digit leads. Your number one option, Tobias Harris, 18 points on 16 shots, totally efficient. Mikal Bridges goes 4 of 12, and they basically coughed it up in the fourth quarter. They implode in the fourth quarter with not a lot of options. Joining us also is Tiago at Tiago PHL. What's good, Tiago?
What's going on, Chris? Yeah, 107 points is what you get when you don't have Tyrese Maxey, when you don't have Joel Embiid, and when your leading ball handlers, Tobias Harris. Nevertheless, this is a very winnable game, and I thought that they left a lot on the table in the fourth quarter. We can talk about it. I thought Nick Nurse had a pretty poor fourth quarter. Otherwise, pretty good game by Nurse, but I thought his fourth quarter was very, very poor. It may have cost them the win tonight.
Yeah, we're going to get into that first, but also joining us, he is Pat from Ambler on X. What's good, Pat?
My problem is You're here again. And when you're here, Tobias plays like poop. When you're not here, this man goes off. I don't know what the pattern is. But when you're not here, you got to put your 2 weeks in, okay? You're done. If this guy goes off when you're not here, I don't understand. He must know when you're going to check into the show. He must know you're going to pull good ratings when you rip on the guy. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure this out. I'm stressed.
Tobias Harris, Pat. Nobody should get in their right mind be like over the moon excited about it. Tobias Harris. Solid performance in basketball.
I thought I thought the spark was working. It worked on Sunday. He looked good on Sunday. I'm thinking the momentum's going to shift over and playing against his broken up, beat down Nets team. And this guy can't even do that right. I mean, what in the world is going on here? Why? Why are we loaded up with some bad things? It's just unreal. Like this guy I don't know. I don't know what he has. I mean, does he have? What does he owe to the Sixers? What does the Sixers owe him? Like, why is he on the court for so long when he's so inconsistent? I don't understand. He's not a playmaker, and he's inconsistent. And get it? We're all. I guess Nick Nurse and the front office are waiting for the other shoe to drop where he's going to take over this game. And because there was no Maxey, there was no Joel Embiid. This is all in his hands, and he just dropped the puzzle. And now the puzzle pieces are all 1,000 pieces all over the floor. It's pitiful.
Guys, if you're watching us live, please be sure to like this video wherever you're watching. Comment with us as we kind of go over a very frustrating loss, especially when the Knicks get spanked by the Atlanta Hawks in a win that could really nip you in the butt later on, given the Sixers schedule. Some comments real quick, and then we're going to get into some Nick Nurse questionable decision-making in the fourth quarter. Marshawn Lynch says pain. My man Steven says, explain to me why KJ Martin wasn't in down. At least as a stretch, stretch big. Like, I don't understand. We're going to get into that real soon. Batum playing 32 minutes and B-Ball Paul only 19. Ricky Council Jr. with a goose egg in this one is so frustrating. Like I was saying to Pat, like there's zero reason why we are like, I get the politics. I get the money. I get the contract. It's just frustrating as a Sixers fan. Terrible Mo game.
From Obama the GOAT there saying terrible Mo game.
That's pretty bad.
Nick Nurse rotations go to Holiday. I'm not sure what that means. KJ played good as a small ball 5. I don't understand why we didn't see that in the fourth quarter.
I have a theory on that. Like, I get he played well, but you saw the Sixers struggle with that size late in the game.
Yeah.
Finney Smith was attacking the glass. Like, he had a good run there, but I don't think you can live with KJ Martin late in the game on the glass, off misses. I think they're very susceptible as a rebounding team when he's on the court. So I think he had a really good game overall, but late in the game, the guy should have been out there much longer is Paul Reed. I mean, I get it. He got beat by Dennis Schroeder on that drive, but he was the one guy that I thought would have made a difference late in the game.
Yeah, it's hard when your depth is really getting tested. Like Cameron Payne is looking really nice in that first half, but man, like they were just killing him. They were hunting him on defense.
Yeah,
it's tough. Was Toby bad? Yes.
Oh boy. Well, there goes Quinn.
Yeah. Sunday was a coaching win as much as today was a coaching loss. Harrell wasn't awful, but he just kind of was there. Too many short shots, which is frustrating. Like the Sixers, when they run their offense through Tobias, I hate that offense.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Sixers were never able to get into any kind of rhythm. I feel they were sluggish, which is nuts considering that it was the Nets who were on a second of a back-to-back. So that's frustrating.
And what frustrates me most about the playing through Tobias is your shot diet is just these tough fadeaway twos. And it's like Tobias Harris just forgets that he's 6'8" strong and athletic sometimes. Like there was two specific plays that jumped out at me tonight where he had Dennis Schroeder on him and was unable to get anywhere with backing him down. Both plays resulted in like a fadeaway elbow jumper, and that's just not acceptable. Like the biggest pro for Tobias as a player is really that you are this strong, athletic guy that can move, guy that has a little shake to his game. Those are the things you got to use your advantages as your advantages, and he just doesn't too often. He's way too reliant on those bad, tough twos, the fadeaway. The worst shot in basketball is Tobias's go-to option.
And, like, that's the thing. I just want to make a point on Tobias. I don't know if we're getting a chance to get to him. Like, do you guys remember at any point in the game where he actually drew an extra defender? At no point in the game with the ball in his hand did he actually make a hard play, downhill, get in the paint, make a play at the rim, make the extra pass. Like Sean said, this is a guy who came in tonight and said, I'm going to live and die. I have a pull-up game, my post-up game, and I'm not going to get fouled. I'm not going to make easy passing reads. You know, when you're playing without Maxey, you're playing without Embiid, you have to find a way to create easy offense. This guy on multiple transition possessions missed Nick Batum in the corner, threw a wide pass to Buddy Hield, who should have taken an open three. It's just a combination of a lot of stuff throughout the game that gets hidden by the box score. Like you said, Chris, you talked about the box score. He had an efficient game. It was an awful Tobias game when you needed him to really assert himself offensively. So, yeah, I just thought that he was, again, one of the guys that came up short when he needed the most.
Yeah. Nick says tonight just reminded me how much of a winner Dennis Schroeder is. That was the difference, I thought. The Sixers had zero answer for Dennis Schroeder there. Big moments in this one. Kelly Oubre with an efficient game. We're going to get into him real quick. If our Sixers don't start winning, they'll be in a play-in game, and the knock right out won't even make the playoffs. That'll be a shame. It's what it is, man. It's what the roster looks like right now. Rudy Boo says, I'm not blaming coaching. Nets have a better roster than the Embiid list. I mean, that Nets roster is a bunch of nobody. What's everyone's thoughts on that Nets team?
They suck.
Suck. I don't believe it, Rudy Poo. Like that is a bad basketball team. And let's be real, the Sixers are a bad basketball team with their current makeup, with everybody out.
Did you really expect them to win without Maxey? Once you found Maxey, even Nick Nurse said in the pregame, a delay concussion. Never heard of that one before. And he went, yeah, it's a delay concussion. He's out. So it is what it is. I mean, and did you really think Toby was going to take over? Did you really thought this? I mean, Kelly Oubre from the bench was your best player. He was the one who took over. He had 30 points tonight. Toby didn't have nothing. I mean, again, we're putting on and Mo Bamba, he had like 12, 15 minutes and only gave you 2 buckets. I mean, unacceptable. I mean, you can't have that coming down stretch. And again, speaking of coming down stretch, I kind of blame this one on Nick Nurse a little bit. Again, making those, you're making this, you're giving your stars a bunch of minutes. You're not, you're shoring up on the bench. We didn't get no Ricky Cancel tonight. Again, there could have been so much more you could have done here to get some winning. Kind of got the one win. And how about Toby? how about him, like the missed pass he had with Kelly Oubre, a couple other stuff that was going wrong. Again, the blame game goes around. If there's a blame pie chart, he gets 80% of it.
Lowry
Yeah, that's what
played.
I'm talking about.
Lowry played well, but made some questionable decision making. It was just overall a tough game. Let's guys, thank you everyone for the comments. They're coming in like crazy right now. But let's one more time, if guys are watching, like this video, let's get into some questionable coaching by Nick Nurse. Obviously, we touched on Ricky Council Jr. Not getting any play time in this one. But the last 5-6 minutes, you need a bucket. Buddy Hield isn't even on the goddamn court. Like, I don't even know if he played the last 6 minutes in this one. Buddy Hield had 3 shots from the perimeter today. That's inexcusable. That is a guy that should be spamming the 3 and getting shots up, especially when Tobias isn't shooting anything. Tobias had 3 shots from the perimeter. Tiago, what happened with Nick Nurse in this one?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with what you look in your fourth quarter lineup. The one guy they needed to keep on the court tonight was Oubre because he was the few guys that could actually get his foot on the paint and attack downhill. So I thought that Nurse made the right decision to keep Oubre on the court late in games, right? You want Lowry out there because he's a floor general. He's been making solid reads in the half court. He moves the basketball. Same thing for Batum. You start going down the line, the guy who shouldn't be out there late in the game, and we talked about him, is Tobias. That's how Buddy Hield doesn't make the court because there's a body there that's blocking him late in the game when you have Oubre, who was really the only guy who create downhill. So I thought that the Sixers missed a lot of Hield late in game. First of all, I thought that Hield had a pretty good defensive game. I thought he made some really good defensive possessions on the ball and as a help defender, so it wasn't necessarily a negative Hield game. But even if he's not taking shots, like what you get from Buddy, and we saw this in multiple possessions, is perimeter gravity. 2 guys who float to him, create space for others. I think KJ Martin had a slam dunk off a screen and roll off that same exact look. So even if you're not getting his scoring, what you're getting from him is double teams, players hedging, players doubling into his space. And I think that's something the Sixers missed late in the game. And again, they were very, very reliant on isolation scoring, pull-ups that really kind of just fell off the wayside as the game went on. So, yeah, I thought that Buddy should have been in to close the game. But, again, the guy who you have to talk about taking off the court is Tobias. And they have just never, ever, ever considered taking Tobias off the court. I mean, I've talked about this throughout the entire season. He should not be penciled in fourth quarter minutes, but they don't even consider that since he's been here. So.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, and to the point about Buddy, I would argue his gravity is probably his biggest strength as a player. Like that impacts the entire team as far as opening things up, creating space, just keeping options open on the offensive end. I did think it was a little bit of a tough Buddy game. That the one thing I've noticed, especially of late with him, is everything's a little bit slower than I expected with him. The release, the way that he goes into motions is not due to lack of effort. Like he's clearly trying to get to his spots, run up and down the floor, but there isn't quite the same pop to his game that I kind of was expecting. And you see it in moments where there's little gaps where he doesn't get a shot off here or the opportunity doesn't pop up. But the bottom line is what he does is score the basketball and put up shots. And that is what they need down the stretch. Even when they're not going in or he's not getting them off at the rate that you hope to for most of this game, that's his strength as a player. So you kind of got to roll with it. I don't know. There was a lot to nitpick. To me, like Buddy's definitely in the mix for the usage tonight. I also think we saw a lot more of Buddy being able to create during his first 4 games here, that he was able to put the ball on the floor, attack, create for others. He had that 10-assist game the one time. I think since Lowry has really elevated into such a key part, we've taken that out of Buddy's kind of repertoire and expectations. I want it back. I want to see him making decisions that I thought he was really good and provided something for this team. And we haven't seen that in several games now. So that's something I would like to see added back.
Yeah, for sure.
They have him running a lot, Chris. And when I watched him in Indiana, I didn't see him running that much in half court. I think what Sean is saying, he's not necessarily a super quick trigger. And when you're asking him to run sideline to sideline, catch, shoot, they're just better oftentimes like have him play off a double and just shoot off the catch. And I think Embiid will help a lot when he's on the court.
Definitely.
I think he's going to draw a lot of that attention, and I think you're going to see Buddy a bit more stationary in the half court. But right now, Nurse is trying to generate anything that he possibly can in terms of shot creation. One that he sees that is having kind of Buddy do all that extra dribbling and extra motion in the half court. So, yeah, I think he's just going to benefit when Embiid is back full go. And I think that's what we'll see the real offense with Buddy Hield, or at least I hope.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll on to Kelly Oubre Jr. Guys, keep the comments coming. We'll get to him right after this. But Kelly Oubre arguably had one of his better games with the Sixers. Hold on, let me mute you. Kelly Oubre finished this one 30 points. It was a +4, 2 of 5 from 3. Gotta love that. I mean, he was really aggressive, attacking the paint, getting the one two-handed dunk he had there at the end of the third quarter. That was straight up nasty. Yeah, I mean, when the Sixers needed offense, he was one of their guys. Sean, what was your take on Kelly Oubre today?
He's at his best when he's making quick decisions and attacking the basket. And I thought we got a lot of that today. That it feels like the past couple games, he's hit the realization in his head that there's nobody on this opposing team that can stick with me athletically, and just taking advantage of that. And that's the best version of him as a basketball player. I thought this was a terrific Kelly Oubre game. Thought he started a little rough, and then after that first 6 minutes of play, it was pretty much perfect basketball from Kelly. You got to take the bad with the good, that there's always going to be the couple flashes that you get from him of him trying to do too much or make a bad decision. But overall, he was terrific tonight. I thought defensively he hung in there for a good amount of moments. Some of the commitment as far as chasing guys off ball, I was really impressed with, and has been that way throughout the season. They needed every bit of what he gave them tonight to stick in that game. Unfortunate that it wasn't enough to get the edge, but Kelly more than did his job tonight, and a 30-point performance from him. Very impressive. So shout out to Kelly Oubre, man. He does bring it from an effort level every single night.
Yeah, when he's cooking from 3, man, he's tough. He's a good player, and I do think they need to re-sign this guy. I'm thinking 3 years.
No.
3 years, 40 million, something like that.
No. What?
What?
Tiago's not a fan.
You don't like Kelly Oubre?
I can't wait till he's gone, Chris. He's been good.
Oh, wow.
I
You can tell when Joel is off the court, he's like, it's Kelly Oubre time. And Sean was spot on. Kelly Oubre was sensational today, but he's been pretty bad since Joel's been out.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
This guy's clearly at his best when he's cutting to the basket.
Yes, absolutely.
Playing more off ball, but that's not an option right now. It's just the luck of the cards.
Chris, I looked at some numbers during the game. He is 6th in the NBA in points percent off drives. He's got 198 points off drives. Here are the players that score on a higher percentage than him off drives: Joel Embiid, Jaren Jackson, Jason Tatum, and Bam Adebayo. That's it. This guy's very efficient coming downhill. He's one of the most efficient players attacking the rim in the league. So, yeah, that is a super valuable skill. The thing is, when Joel is in the paint, that just doesn't happen as often. So he's going to be relied upon more to shoot off catch and make 3-pointers. And that's where he just hasn't really been super reliable throughout his career. He was early in the year, and his shot took a massive nosedive. So I'm hoping that comes back around before the postseason, because, yes, he'll be a very valuable player in the postseason for that reason.
The only counter I'll stick in there, Tiago, is you're right about the driving lanes not being there. But the thing that I have seen with Kelly when sharing the floor with Joel is he does seem to have a knack for that feel for the dunker spot and finding the little lane for that little dump pass in a way that I don't really think we've seen for a player next to Joel. Maybe Ben Simmons is probably the guy that did it best beyond that. But when you think back to the PJ Tuckers in the dunker spot, it's really refreshing to have a guy like Kelly who can actually go up and just out athlete guys and go get a putback, which is really cool to see. So I'm intrigued by what that can become. And if he can continue carving out that lane, I'm optimistic. He's definitely a better player when Joel's on the floor, but we'll see how it all shakes out. I like Kelly. It's been more good than bad overall, I feel, and he's been overall better than I expected the experience to go.
Mr. Rudy Poo says, come on, Tiago. Let me guess, you want Tobias back on a lower figure.
I wouldn't want that on my worst enemy.
Barry says this game proves that we need Kelly Oubre to come off the bench for a spark whenever. I mean, that's
Definitely.
That's realistically the best case scenario for this team. Quentin says Oubre will be too expensive for his.
Let me ask you guys a question. If Kelly Oubre's back, what do you guys foresee Ricky Council's role potentially being? Because they're kind of like a similar player, slashers. I mean, Ricky doesn't really have that shot yet, but if Oubre's back for that number in those years, I just don't see a world where Ricky Council is in the picture moving forward. And I actually think Ricky, in the long run, may turn out to be just as good of a player. So I just wonder where his role fits at that point.
I mean,
we also will have no Tobias.
Yeah, and you're not going to get the more athletes, the better at this point. That we've had so many years of going through like not having guys who can catch lobs and go up and do all these things. That the more the better in my mind. That even if they are fighting themselves for minutes, I'm okay with that being the situation there.
When was the last time you saw a wing do the two-handed dunk that Kelly Oubre did with the shot clock draining it down the lane?
KJ McDaniels, maybe.
He's not bad. I mean, like I said, Kelly Oubre did, like I said, 30 points a night again. And when he was in spacing, when he was from the perimeter, he had a couple nice threes. But like I said, the key word is consistency. Can we get this every game? I'm not sure, but I mean, he was definitely obviously your best option in tonight's game of what you had on the floor. I mean, like I said, that's the one excitement I got from him tonight.
Mr. Rudy Poo is saying, why not both? Essentially, Ricky is more of a pounder. Oubre is a lot quicker. If Ricky isn't getting playing time, then you can wipe it now.
For this season,
that hurts, man. That's a guy that needs to be on the court, getting ready for the playoffs, man. This is going to be Isaiah Joe all over again, Tiago, and I'm going to flip a table if they let him walk. I'm gonna be very upset.
My thing is
the NBA in plus minus off the bench this year. By the way, sorry. Go ahead, Pat.
No. I think he'll get playing time a lot tomorrow night since they're playing a back-to-back. So I think Nick went to roll with the bigger. I guess is what he thought is the better option for tonight, and then go with an easier team like the Grizzlies, and you could bring in Ricky Cancel and give him more playing time for that.
Yep. Kenzie says bring them both back. We need depth, Ricky and Kelly. We need a Rice to Ricky Council podcast. I love it. That's fantastic. Great comment, Steven. Oubre is better than C4 times 10. I don't know about that. I don't
times
know about
10? That. Wow.
Yeah, I don't. I think Ricky. Maybe I am a homer. Who knows? But given what I've seen, I think he can give you great defense. I think he can give you rebounding. He's going to get to the free throw line. I don't know. He's an average 3-point shooter. He's going to put it up. Does Oubre have a pending court case? But
they never find out that video. That never resurfaced.
Radio silence there.
Right. So, does anybody want to tell me who Jeff Dalton Jr. is?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So he's a Nick Nurse guy. He played 4 years at Rhode Island. He was a fun little college player. Went on a little tournament run. They upset Creighton the 1 year. Back when Dan Hurley was the coach his first 2 years there. He hasn't done really anything at the NBA level. He was with the Raptors and had most of his opportunity under Nurse out there. I had a feeling that he would get an opportunity tonight, just reading the quotes for how Nurse spoke about him in some of the press media availability today. I don't particularly love his game. He's not a guy that I'm going to be pumping the stock of. And to be honest, what means more to me is I think if I'm Ricky Council IV and watching this kid get an opportunity in tonight while you sit on the bench, that should feel like a little bit of a slap in the face, whether it wasn't intended like that or not. So I don't know. I do think Nick Nurse likes Jeff Dalton Jr. He's not a guy that I really have a ton of belief in at the NBA level. He's fine. He's got a little athleticism. He can make decent decisions as a true point guard, kind of combo guardish, not a great shot, but yeah, not a guy. I'm not going to be pumping the stock of Jeff Dalton Jr. by any means.
Oh, man.
Nick is definitely ripping me tonight. What's going on, Nick? Did I do something? I owe you money? Jeez.
No, I don't know what Mo Bamba gives you on the basketball court, other than then he can run a little bit and he's big.
He's a tough watch.
He's
Chris, they had better rim protection with KJ Martin at the 5.
That's the most frustrating thing to me. Like the way when he struggles as a rim protector, which is often with Mo Bamba, it's maddening. Like you have a legitimate 8-foot wingspan, and guys are just finishing around you.
He's just slow. He doesn't know how to time his jumps properly. He plays small at the rim on both ends. That was that pass Lowry found him under the rim, and he tried to lay it in and missed. That was maddening. I'm like, dude, you're like 10 foot tall. Will you please just dunk the freaking ball? Like it was maddening. It was absolutely maddening. I don't understand what they insist on him throughout. I mean, I get it. You're without Joel. You just got to do what it takes. But I just hope once Joel's back, we won't see him anymore, man. It's really bad.
My father-in-law loves him. Me and my father-in-law got into it about Mo Bamba compared to Paul Reed, which is the better option. Yeah. He's like, oh, he's a better defender. I was like, Pops, I love you, but no. He's like, yeah. I said no. I said, look, we could run circles around that dude, and it's embarrassing. Like he's like the he's like the Walmart brand version, or like the cheap Acme soda of Joel Embiid right now. And no offense to anyone's an Acme shopper, but yeah, he's that kind of he's kind of that brand of soda right now. It's pretty bad.
He's like a second late on all reactions.
Everything.
He doesn't process at all.
And he'll jump. Like there'll be like a 5'9" guy driving the lane. He'll jump. And I'm like, why are you jumping? You just raise your arms up in the air and you block the shot. Like it's absolutely crazy.
Nick says the missed layup under the rim from Bamba was abysmal. Guys, Mo Bamba will be out of the league in a year. He's by far the dumbest player I have ever seen. I love it.
Yeah, I'll give Nick Nurse credit, though, because like he is trying stuff out.
Yeah.
He had Tobias at the 5, a Cage at the 5, Batum. He's trying stuff out, right? Because he realizes you can't have Bamba out there for 20, 25 minutes a night. So I'll give him credit for trying stuff out. Some of the stuff actually worked. But again, until late in the game, man, like Paul Reed was clearly the best option at the 5. So just stick with him.
And to be fair to Nick Nurse, it's a tough hand he's dealt right now. Like there's really not a ton of great options he can pull out. He is trying things, which I give him credit for, but like, you're not going to win a lot of games when you have this as your roster right now.
All right. Anybody else have any thoughts before we get into player of the game?
Let's just
roll on.
Yeah, I mean, let's roll on.
I have a lot of thoughts, Chris, but we'll save it for next time.
All right, Sixers player of the game. Let's lead it off with Tiago. You go first, man. Who's your player of the game?
I'm going to take the obvious one tonight. I thought Kyle Lowry was by far the Sixers' best player on the court. Well, I wouldn't say that by far because Oubre had a fantastic game, so I'll take that back. But I thought next to Oubre, Lowry was sensational for the most part. I thought he's kind of the guy that can really settle the offense and get guys in position to get shots. The Sixers are a very, very much improved team from the corner when Kyle Lowry is on the court. He's able to see guys drive, kick it out to the corner, find guys in transition in the corner. The Sixers shot the ball much better from the corner since he's been on the team, so I attribute that to him primarily. He gets the team out in transition, gets the team organized. I thought that for the most part today he was really, really good. Took his threes. He usually doesn't take that many threes in the game. He was taking his shots. He showed a pretty diverse shot profile. He shot one off motion, was pulling up from almost the logo. So it was a very good Kyle Lowry game. He struggled a little bit with turnovers and fouls, but overall, I thought that for 3.5 quarters, he was sensational.
Steven says all we need here is Lange and We have an old school TPO pandemic crew back in here. Oh man. Jeff Dalton is Nick's player of the game. That one assist really was the difference. Oh man. You could also say Tobias Harris's one offensive rebound was the difference in this one as well. Pat, who's your player of the game?
I'm going to know what. I have been a sacrificial lamb for so many shows now. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not. You're going to have to give me, and I'll give you guys a laugh. Give me Cameron Payne. I want to go Cameron Payne. I thought he was decent in one half of basketball. I thought, he played okay from the perimeter. I thought he had a nice little couple of jumpers inside the paint when they mattered. 15 solid. Give me Cameron Payne for my guy who got the start tonight.
Sean.
Yeah, I can't believe he's still here for me, but give me Kelly Oubre Jr., man. I am a Kelly Oubre Jr. appreciator.
I do.
I love the effort level. I love the athleticism. I like the way, just the motor that he plays with. Again, you have to take the bad with the good with him, that there are the head-scratching and frustrating moments. But the man scored 30 points tonight, and they needed every single one of them. They needed somebody to step up and just go get a bucket on so many possessions, and he was the guy to do that. So when he's playing downhill the way it was tonight, attacking the rim, making quick decisions, that's the best version of Kelly Oubre Jr., and we got that tonight. So player of the game for me.
This is brutal.
Yeah, it's a tough one for you.
I'm going to go KJ.
KJ Martin?
KJ. I'm absolutely biased. 18 points on 16 shots is a joke.
Don't be the box score guy, Chris. There are better options out there.
No. Give me a KJ Martin. He's been out there in the fourth quarter, and I'll just leave it at that. All right. Lonnie Walker, Redding's Lonnie Walker to Barry. I've tuned into over 50 shows, not one time as Pat picked Paul Reed for player of the game.
Yes, I did. I picked him once. I did for you, Nick. Wait, did you get your tattoo yet? Like we talked about on Sunday? Jesus.
That's the one thing. Like I do believe in this team, though. This comment from Steven. Like, there are parts of this team that make a lot of sense. Does that make sense? Like I see
Lowry's a difference
maker. When he comes back, I see it, Sean.
Yeah. Like the way I keep describing Lowry is it feels like he's just the adult in the room. Like he's like a calming presence out there. He has a feel for things in a way that I think this team needs. By the way, I thought he was going to wax Dennis Schroeder at one point today, which I loved every bit of that as well. Yeah, I'm in on what Kyle Lowry brings. And when you think about like this team fully healthy, what they can be, when you're thinking about like an 8-man rotation, it doesn't look bad. That's talking about Lowry, Embiid, obviously. Hopefully Melton gets healthy. You minimize Buddy Hield's role, minimize what's expected from Tobias Harris. Then Batum can play a more natural role. It all starts to fit together a little more, but they just got to get healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Lowry's going to be very good for Maxey, man. You can already see that. That Dallas game, I thought that they were sensational playing off each other. You can really see how much he's going to make Maxey grow in the offense.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the kind of guy who's going to let Maxey have the ball as well. So it's not going to be like, the Doc Rivers days of Maxey just playing off the ball. So I think there's potential to be a very good team late in the season, but you need Joel back and a full go. And that's really going to be the key.
Absolutely. We didn't touch on Lonnie Walker. We kind of stick to Sixers players on this post-game show. The guy working at the Nathan's hot dog stand is better than KJ. Come on, crap. I love it. Pat picked Toby more than B-Ball Paul. Yeah, we talked about Jeff Dalton. Any quick kind of impressions on him?
He's a nurse guy. He's just, to me, he's a cup of coffee in the NBA kind of guy. I don't see it completely, unfortunately. I wish I did and could hype him up more, but I think Terquavion Smith, I think, is just straight up better than him at basketball, and we haven't really seen an opportunity for him at all.
Yeah. Bench is improved once this team is healthy. Nick says the tattoo appointment is tomorrow. I'm assuming it's a B-Ball Paul tattoo.
He's getting B-Ball Paul. I told him to get a B-Ball Paul across the belly. Because he might.
We'll learn a lot from playing with Lowry. Very deep. team when healthy. I'm pumped. Yeah, like theoretically, I see where this team is going. I get it. Just need the big guy to get back onto the court healthy.
The thing is,
the game came down to the wire. I mean, my sphincter was pretty tight till the end. I mean, it was. I mean, again, without your two major stars, I mean, this team pretty much gave this bad. And listen, it was what it is. What it is. I mean, it's not a bad team, but I mean, I think they've gotten to a rhythm playing without Joel Embiid for what it is for right now, and they figured a couple things out. And that's where you can give credit to Nick Nurse, that he can, establish time. All right, I know what I have on the floor. I can, work a couple things and, come up with the best scenario for this team. So I'll give him that. But after that, I just, like you said, ultimately we can see the big picture. You can see your five. You got Heel. You got, Max. You have JoJo. You're gonna have, Kyle. You can really do some things. And if he comes back. I need him back. If he's back on men's restrictions, that speaks volumes because we know what he could do on the floor, and with him being on the floor, it's a totally upside for this team. And then you don't know what this team could do come playoff time. Let's just put our blue and red sunglasses on, boys. Let's go.
Yeah. I know they brought up on the broadcast that Rocco is on his way back relatively soon, right?
Yeah, as of a week and a half ago, they said it would be 3 weeks until he begins his ramp-up period. So by that timeline, we got about another week and a half till he starts his actual return to play. It's been very strange that, I still haven't heard what the exact injury is other than it being a knee issue. Or I hate how guarded the Sixers are with all of that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I would like some more concrete evidence of it. But, yeah, it sounds like he's on the mend.
Yeah. And then
shout out to the Maxey concussion that popped up this morning. Just out of the blue.
Yeah. He's got a Sixer, man. You know it.
At least they caught it in time before he was in ICU somewhere again, like an IV or something like that.
Exactly.
That's the Sixers medical team. They find things out late, very, very delayed.
All right, let's wrap it up. Sean, final thoughts tonight. Plugs. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm as upset about this one as I am, but you got to take the wins when you can get them without Joel right now. And this is one that I thought they could have taken. But bottom line is you got to pick it up, get off the mat, and try and win one tomorrow against an even worse team in the Memphis Grizzlies. So they got to make sure that's the case, keep the foot on the gas, and find a way to get a win there. Overall, it was good chopping up with you guys tonight. Appreciate you guys for listening in. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Sean_Bernard1. Check out Pick Swap Media and Sixers Digest on YouTube, as well as Pick Swap Media on all platforms. And catch me on Fox Sports The Gambler. We'll be dropping a Picks and Roll episode talking about all the NBA games tomorrow. You can catch a little replay of today where I talk a little Jeff Doughton and a little more depth and everything else with the Sixers.
I need a full scouting report on Jeff Doughton tomorrow, Sean.
Led the G League in assist to turnover ratio so far this year. Yeah.
I love it.
Man, Sean was deep in the G League stat page.
I love it.
That's terrific. I love Sean just pulls that out. Tiago, any thoughts? Plugs? You're up.
Chris, you're not going to get many thoughts from me when you play without Max and Embiid. But again, it was a very winnable game. They should have probably won tonight. Just looking at the schedule, Pelicans, Knicks. I'm assuming the Grizzlies tomorrow should be a win. I like for them to at least split against New York. New York's kind of on a downswing. Jalen Brunson's injured. The whole team is injured. So hoping they at least split one of those coming up. So I'm looking forward to that. But outside of that, you can find me on Twitter at TiagoPHL. And I'll be putting out some more stuff for Edge of Philly Sports, covering the Sixers and the NBA. So,
all right, man. You're up, Pat.
Final thought is, again, come back, bounce back for a W. Again, this one slipped out of your hands. Come back strong, get some Ricky Council. I know he's hungry to get off the bench and start playing, so give him some more playing time. Take the W coming in tomorrow, get a W against the Pelicans team. Like Tiago said, you want to split with the Knicks. If you could do that, man, you keep yourself at that. You make a good cushion league, and you're still in playoff talk. So hopefully we can get things going, and then the future is bright from here on out. And then you get the big man back, and you get Rocco's defense back. So again, Nick is fighting for what he's got left and what's left on this car. The car's been in the pit stop for so many times. The wheels have come off. You got the check engine light on, and yet we're still battling through this thing. So let's go. I think the 76ers could do some big things here on their upcoming game. So we'll see what happens. And look, you should have, hopefully, prayerfully, you'll have Maxey ready to go tomorrow. So that's always a big plus against that bad, ugly Grizzly team. So hopefully we get some things going, and let's stay positive. So again, for me, you can catch me attacking third Thursday nights. You guys can catch me right here on Edge of Philly Sports doing PM in the AM. Of course, you catch all my beat reporting work as I do for the Philadelphia Wings and for the Philadelphia Union. So guys, I'm good. Thank you.
Final thoughts. Nick Batum entry passes to Tobias Harris just hit different. We Joel Embiid now. I'm tired of
Chris.
I'm so tired of this. Get Embiid back immediately, because this is like, I agree with Sean. Like, I shouldn't be upset, but I am. And
How about Tobias entry passes to Mo Bamba? Do they hit different?
I haven't seen one.
There was one out there. It took him like 10 seconds to align on like what to do. Tobias was like, move this way, move that way. And Mama's like, okay, I'll stop here.
The frustrating part is, like, there's always guys that Tobias misses under the basket that he just doesn't see.
Tiago had an awesome tweet of him missing Batum in the corner on a drive tonight too. Let's get tunnel vision.
It was too obvious to pass up, man. I'm sorry. I try not to rag on Tobias much, but that was rough.
All right, guys. We did a Birds of the Round Table tonight, breaking down winners and losers from the NFL Scouting Combine. Check that out if you're into the NFL Draft. Again, thank you everyone for watching. One more time, like this video, help us out. Please consider subscribing. Last time, Pat from Ambler on X for Pat, at Tiago PHL for Tiago, and at Sean_Brown1 for Sean. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Stay awesome.